Hello, theater makers. My name is Ken Davenport. This is day 2 of your Take Charge of Your 21 Theater Makers Challenge. My microphone is on. We're off to a good start, so let's do this. Day 2 of our challenge with Telly Leung, James Snyder, and a special surprise guest, Kate Rockwell, begins right now.
Theater makers, this is our year. Woo! Come on, give a great big cheer. Woo! 2020's finally done. Now it's time to take charge of your 2021. Yeah!
How'd I do? You all hear okay? Throw it in the comments if you can hear, if you heard our great theme song, if you heard my intro. Nicole, Justin, Deb, Laura, Andrew, hello. Everyone can hear me okay? Woo! I pulled it off. Day 2. I unmuted myself. It's, I've produced Broadway shows, I've run businesses, I've founded businesses, and sometimes I just forget to turn my mute off. But I applied a lesson from yesterday's challenge to get through the fear of me muting. Because all morning I was like, what if I forget to take myself off mute again? And then I remembered Mandy Gonzalez. And I said, what if I remember to take my mute off? And what if it goes well? Did it go well? Give me a yes, it went well. I got some thumbs up over there. Michael's here, Nick's here. It's always the little thing, says Gloria, baby steps. Yes, yesterday, if you watched yesterday, you noticed that I was like a Zoom rookie, like I had never been on Zoom before. I was the guy that was going like, Ken, you're on mute. And I was like, who's screwing this up? Can't be me. It was me. Not today. We learn and we move forward. So welcome to day 2 of our Take Charge of Your 21 Theater Makers Challenge. I'm thrilled you're all here. It's so great to see you. Welcome back. Hope you had a wonderful, wonderful night. And first of all, let me congratulate all of you on the homework you did yesterday. How many of you enjoyed doing your homework for the first time in your life? Let me see here and there. You enjoy that homework? You enjoy the process of doing it? It's amazing, right? That no one wanted to do algebra homework, right? Who wants to do algebra homework? But when homework is applied to what you would really love to spend the rest of your life doing, it's easier to get it done, right? Easier to get it done. Hello, everybody. Hello, Rick from Palmetto, Florida. Look at all the yes, I did. In addition to seeing all of the great work you did on your homework yesterday, being fearless and calendaring your day, it was also just great to see you congratulating each other, to see you gather in that group, to become a community and see the thumbs up and encouragement coming from everybody. And so thank you so much for all of you who did that. It really just means a lot. And I'm sure it felt great when you did your homework to have someone pat you on the back, to remind you that you are not alone in this. You are not alone in this journey. Being an entrepreneur, which is what I call every single one of us, can be a very lonely process. It can feel very lonely. How many of you out there feel alone at times? Anyone feel alone? Throw it in the comments if you've ever felt alone. You're at night, maybe it's like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. You're staring at your screen. Your fingers are on the keyboard. You're writing or you're not writing, and you're wondering oh God, how am I going to get through this? It can be very lonely. I feel like that all the time. This group, one of the reasons we did this challenge is to let you all know that you're not alone. You're not alone. And people have your back. People have your back. Theater makers like you have your back. They're here in this challenge. So use each other, continue to congratulate each other. It's going to be part of your homework assignment every single day. Speaking of homework, I did say we were going to have a prize for one of the people who completed their homework, and we do. Today, we're giving away a copy of Final Draft. This copy of Final Draft is worth like $17,000. Okay, it's not true, but it is worth a lot of money. And what I love about Final Draft, again, is that it helps you write faster. So my job, the job of the Theater Maker Studio, and all the tips you're going to hear from the stars throughout the week, how you can get to your goals faster. We can't do the work for you, but we can give you tools, tips, resources, and guidance on how to make the work that you need to do easier and how to get it done faster. I often say that one of the goals when I founded the Theater Maker Studio, one of the goals was to get you to your dreams faster than you can on your own. That's what we want to do. We want to get you to accomplishment faster than you can on your own. Final Draft is one of the tools that can do that. The winner of Final Draft is Renee Grayson. Renee Grayson, you have won Final Draft. There is an image. Look at that. Very organized Virgo-like homework assignment there. I love it. 1, bought a planner. 2, filled my calendar with day 2. 3, her fearless thing, announced to some friends that she started a small business. This is incredible. That is incredible. 4, moment of confidence, MLK service as well. Amazing, amazing. Well done, Renee. Well done. Congratulations. You get that Final Draft. One of my team members is going to reach out to you directly, and you can redeem that prize. Congratulations. Yes, everyone, look at all the people that have your back congratulating you. I did want to say, while we're talking about Final Draft, and speaking of resources and tips, Final Draft has a brand new podcast. How many of you out there are interested in writing movies, screenplays, teleplays, television, as well as a play or a musical? Anyone out there writing movies, have written any already, written teleplays? Final Draft is a podcast. It's called Write On, a screenwriting podcast specifically for screenwriters. Go ahead, wherever you listen to podcasts, check it out. It's great. Those people at Final Draft know what they're talking about. So yeah, it looks like we got a lot of screenwriters in the group as well. Okay, so we've got another prize. It's 2 prizes in 1. Yesterday, I randomly announced, and my team just loves this. Mary, everyone knows stage manager Mary, and Christy, our stage manager from the summit. Everyone knows that my team, I just like throw stuff out in the middle of live on-air appearances. And yesterday I announced that we would give a 6-month membership to the Theater Maker Studio to the challenge participant with the ugliest planner. Basically, that's what I was trying to say. I said it a little more politely than that, but whoever had like an old school planner that was like the ugliest, they were going to get a prize. 6 months of the Theater Maker Studio. This is what we chose. It's actually not that ugly, but Laureen, you win 6 months of the Theater Maker Studio, a 6-month membership to Theater Maker Studio. And I love your planner. I was picking on, but look at this. What I love with it, first of all, she gave me a little shout out there, a little KD. And then also play. Can you see play up there? I love it. I love it. The star, whatever works for you. The key to this stuff is whatever works. I'm going to talk about this in a little bit with my tip, but the key when coming up with all these productivity hacks and tips and tools in whatever works for you, use whatever works for you that keeps you going. If it's a latte at 3 o'clock that keeps you going and it's successful, then use it. If it's an old-fashioned planner, then use it. Okay, congratulations, Lorraine. Welcome to the Theater Maker Studio. Speaking of, don't forget, the Theater Maker Studio, which is this masterclass-like community, includes a Facebook group and courses on everything from budgeting to raising money to producing readings. We have a free trial membership for you just this month. It ends on the 24th, and then no more free trials to the Theater Maker Studio. So if you've ever thought about joining, now is the time to do it. You can check it out for 30 days, absolutely free. And that free trial option is disappearing on the 24th of this month of January. Okay, so check it out. We'll throw a link into the chat. Lastly, before we get to a tip, we had a ton of fun yesterday in the VIP room backstage with Kate Rockwell. Mandy was back there telling more stories. Justin was back there, more stories. I told a very embarrassing story myself. We had a ton of fun. If you want to join the backstage access, you can click the link that's in there. Buy a ticket to VIP, and we will buy a ticket for a New York City public school student to see a Broadway show. Okay? Kate's back there already. Do we have Kate? Can she come out and say hello?
I'm here.
Kate, how are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Ken?
Did you have fun yesterday?
I did have fun yesterday. I was also thinking you're leaving out an incredible feature of our VIP room, which is from your second camera angle, you get to see all of the exciting things that you have stored on the shelf above your head.
That's right. Should I bring the King of Scotland down right now?
I think you're going to have to at this point. I think I'm forcing your hand here.
Let me just bring
in the VIP room yesterday, you guys. You should really come join us over there.
This is what happens in backstage. I brought in the King of Scotland. This is the King of Scotland from Alan Cumming's one-man Macbeth that I produced. This is Malcolm. This is Malcolm, everybody. So yeah, I told that story backstage yesterday. That's the kind of stuff you're going to get, and you're going to get Kate Rockwell. Thanks for saying hello, Kate. We'll see you backstage in a bit. Okay, we're getting to it now. So don't forget, grab a ticket and we'll buy a ticket to see for a kid in New York City to see a Broadway show through the charities Broadway Bridges and Situation Project, two wonderful, wonderful charities that we are working with now and that the Theater Maker Studio is working with. We're going to send a lot of kids to see a lot of shows thanks to you. So we ready? Ooh, one more thing before I get to my tip. One more thing. Tomorrow is a big day. Tomorrow is a big day. It is an inauguration. We are going to change the time of tomorrow's challenge. We are going to change the time of tomorrow's challenge to 2 o'clock. Most likely 2 o'clock. Watch your email. Watch the Facebook group. 2 o'clock tomorrow. Change because of the inauguration. Okay. So stay tuned for more on that. We want to make sure that everyone has a chance to tune in to this very, very important day. That is all I will say about that. And look, it's partly selfish for me because I'm going to be like watching like this, like big old smile on my face. So let's get to the tip. Let's get to my tip and then the two tips from today's speakers. So I teased this tip yesterday. Okay, I teased this tip yesterday. And I mentioned that I was going to talk about to-do lists. So I can't help but see the comments of all the people saying, thank you for changing tomorrow's time. You're very welcome. Great move. Someone says, I don't know who that was that just said great move, but translation for great move, Susan, is no one would have been here, Ken. It would have been empty. It would have been you doing dad jokes and showing weird looking dolls to 0 people in your challenge. Thank you for spinning that for me, Susan. Okay, so we are changing tomorrow's time. Back to the tip. Yesterday, I talked to you a bit that I was going to mention to-do lists today. We're going to get into to-dos. You can go ahead and share my screen, and we are going to talk about the dirty secret about to-dos, the dirty secret about to-do lists, okay? First of all, a very quick poll. How many of you out there keep to-do lists? How many of you keep a to-do list? If you keep a to-do list, how many of you keep it electronically? How many of you keep a written out one on a piece of paper? Any other ways? You write it on your hand? Tell me about how you keep your to-do list. Okay, everyone have a to-do list. If you don't have a to-do list, oh, I see kinda Benny. All right, we got to get you a to-do list. Me both. Yes, so many to-do lists. Okay, we're going to try to consolidate that. I write to-do lists, me both, yes, handwritten. Okay, so we're going to talk about this dirty secret about to-do lists, okay? But before we get there, let me just give you some, if you don't have a to-do list, or if you're looking for a better to-do list, I'm like obsessed with finding better to-do lists. So I'm going to share with you now the top 5 to-do lists for theater makers. Here are 5 pieces of software online. There are free options to, I think, just about every one of these. So check them out. First, we have ToodleDo. This is one of my favorites for theater makers specifically. I have used this, I think, for like a decade. I think it's been like a decade I've used this sucker after analyzing what was best for me, because everyone's different. My whole staff used ToodleDo. Like, this is a very, very powerful, simple to-do list. Very simple. I'm going to show it to you in a little bit. Another one, Todoist. This is another good one. This is ranking very high right now. Very high in all the lists of some of the best lists out there for to-do lists. Again, there are lots of to-do lists out there. We curated what I think is the best for theater makers. Okay. Next, we have Remember the Milk. They win for best name for a to-do list. Best name, keep it unique, right? Just like the title of your show, keep it unique. I would bet you any amount of money that the one to-do list you're going to remember when I get to the next screen is Remember the Milk. A very unique name. Tick Tick, not TikTok. I wonder if they're regretting naming their to-do list Tick Tick now that TikTok is such a thing. Tick Tick is one. And then Asana. This is advanced. And that should say but awesome, not by awesome. That should say awesome is not some to-do brand production company. That should say advanced but awesome. My office just went over to Asana. It's a fantastic piece of software, but it is a little advanced, especially when you're working with teams. Asana is fantastic. If you're planning productions, you've got a remote team all over, stage manager, writer, Asana is incredible. We're going to include links to these in your wrap up. So you can take a screenshot if you want, watch the replay, but just look for your email later. We'll include this list. So get a to-do list. Get a to-do list if you don't have one, okay? Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. Getting a to-do list is not the tip. That is not today's tip. So here's my question to you. Here's my question. How many of you would like to get to do zero? How many of you would like to get to a place where you have nothing on your to-do list, where you've scratched everything off, where you've gotten everything off your to-do list? How many people would love that, right? Yeah, you like, I get through, Trello, that's a good one, by the way. I just saw that in the comments. I want to get through it. I want to get through it. Well, here is the secret. Here is the secret about to-do zero. You should never get to to-do zero. Never, ever get to to-do zero. That is the huge tip, okay? This was a big one for me. This actually changed my life because I'm a big, like Kate Rockwell mentioned yesterday, I am a type A, OCD, keep it clean, cross it off, throw it away. I want to finish things. I start things. I want to finish. I want to finish. I want to finish. I want to finish. You should never get to the bottom of your to-do list. You should never get to it. You have to be constantly adding to your to-do list if you want to not only keep achieving things, but accelerate your growth and achieve more. Or as I like to say, there's always something you can do. There is always something you can do, right? Now, here's the thing. You actually need to make this process of adding to your to-do list, of adding strike it, reverse it, adding to your to-do list, make it a process that you go through every single week. In fact, I do this every Sunday night. And yes, it's a part of my calendar. I'm going to show that to you right now. Here we go. Here is my calendar. Everyone see my calendar? So you can see a couple things on my calendar already. This is my actual calendar. You can see that I do a little family breakfast. You can see that I take my daughter to the playground on Sundays. You can see the writers group that I'm a part of. And you can see right at the bottom here, fill my to-do tank. Fill my to-do tank. Right after my writers group, I stay in front of my computer. I take out a goal, something I want to do, whether I'm producing a show and want to raise a certain amount of money, whether I'm writing a show, whatever it is I'm doing, building a new business. I've got this idea for a new website for theater makers, whatever it is, and I fill my to-do tank. How I do that is I just free associate it for no more. I give myself a timer. I set a timer on Alexa, like, hey, Alexa, start a timer for 10 minutes. And I take 10 minutes to come up with 10 things I can do to get me closer to my goal. I don't judge them when they come out of my mouth or out of my fingers. I just puke them up. 10 things that I can do to get me closer to my goal. And I'm going to show you this right now. I'm going to do this for you. So here's to do. Here's Toodle Do. Okay, here is Toodle Do. I'm going to do this live because I can always edit it later, right? No, I can't. Here's what I want you to do. Someone throw in a project that you're working on. Anything. I want to stream something. I want to write a book about this. I want to start a company. I want to do something. Throw in a project that you are working on right now, and I'm going to show you how to fill your to-do tank right now. Tim just said I just set his 10-minute timer on Alexa. I love it. My new musical, podcast about crime. That's it. Whoever just wrote that, podcast about crime. I'm going to now puke up 10 things for a podcast about crime. Research top 3 podcasting platforms. Talk to Broadway Podcast Network. Buy best podcast microphone. Start website for podcasts. Start social media channels for, spelling does not count, for podcast. Research top 10 most famous crimes of all time. If I'm not the host, who is the host? Come up with 3 other hosts. What else? 3 potential sponsors. How many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. What else can I do? I could watch a crime story on HBO. Interview police. No, interview detectives. I think that's 10. I did it in like 2 minutes, right? Doesn't matter what it is. Every Sunday, 9 o'clock, I fill my to-do tank. Yeah, listen to Prime Podcast. List target audience. These are great ideas. I don't judge them. I just fill my to-do tank. That's what I do. So every week, I urge you to fill your to-do tank. Fill your to-do tank. Because there's not only always something you can do, there's always 10 things that you can do. 10 things that you can do. Okay? Now, tomorrow, I'm going to tell you how to choose what of those or which of those 10 things you should do. Because you're going to end up with a lot of stuff on your to-do list. But that's the point. The people with the biggest to-do lists wins, as long as they execute in a very specific manner. I'm going to share this very specific manner with you in my tip tomorrow. Okay? What do we think? You like the tip? You like that one? It was good? Good stuff? Will you try it for me? You will? Good. Because that's going to be your homework. It's going to be your homework. By the way, I do this for like every project I'm working on. If I'm writing a show, I do this. If I'm producing a show, if I do this. If I am building a website, I do this. You can do it from every area of your life that you want to improve. You can do this for your relationships. You can do this for if you want a better marriage. You can do 10 things I can do this week for a better marriage. I've done this. Like you can do this kind of things. Like anything you want, come up with 10 things and apply it to your life. Okay? That's my tip. Now we're going to move on to our next tip, just like that. So keep up. I want to bring on to the challenge now a good friend of mine. He's starred in Aladdin. He starred in Allegiance. He was the star of my production of Godspell, where I got to watch his talent, like not only on stage every night, but I got to watch it backstage and in the rehearsal room. And this is where actors are so brilliant. It's not just about the polished performance that everyone sees. It's watching them work. And watching Telly Leung work in a rehearsal room is one of the most enjoyable things I've ever done. Welcome, Telly. He's a writer. He's a coach. He's going to give you a tip today. Welcome, Telly.
Hi, Ken. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm very good. I have to say that, first of all, I picked up some really good tips just from your segment. I have to look into Toodle-Doo and all of that. And also the not muting yourself. I think it's hysterical because today I was watching the confirmation hearings and Janet Yellen's Zoom crashed in the middle of her hearing today as she's getting confirmed. So I think it's, it's this, definitely the perfection thing has gone out the door. We all are dealing with things out of our control as we continue to make theater and help our fellow theater makers. So, it even happens on the Hill as you're getting confirmed for the cabinet. Her Zoom crashed.
We've got a great group here. They're very excited to hear from you. So I'm going to go away and go backstage. I'm going to go backstage to that VIP room and let you tip away.
Well, hi everybody. It's so wonderful to be with you all. I just wanted to send you all some love. And I have to say, Ken mentioned Godspell. Godspell is a show that is really theater from nothing. Our auditions, our rehearsal process was very much, here's a bunch of props in a trunk. You have 10 other actors with you on stage, make some theater, and I think that was very good training ground for me as I started to do more producing on my end, more and just making theater from nothing. A realization that I've sort of come up with is that theater is the one art form that requires other people. And, an artist, somebody who's a painter or somebody who works as a sculptor can lock themselves away in a room with some paintbrushes and a piece of rock and come out after a certain amount of time all by themselves with a piece of art that they've made by themselves. Theater is so different than that. And this has been such an isolating time for all of us, COVID. And so what ended up happening this fall was I had some friends who picked up the phone and called me and said, hey, we have this idea for a holiday musical. This was in late September. So already the clock is ticking to make a holiday musical. He was like, we don't really have any ideas for it, but we just know that we want you to be a part of it. And this was my friend Gary Adler, who is my musical director, who Ken also knows very well because he's one of the co-creators of Altar Boys as well. He says, my writing partner and I, Phoebe Kreutz, who was the puppet wrangler on Avenue Q, but ended up also is also a wonderful folk songwriter and musical theater writer. We have this idea for a musical called The Nice List, where Santa goes away on a quality control mission around the world to check on all the other mall Santas and leaves the elves in charge of everything. And one of the jobs is deciding who goes on the nice list and who goes on the naughty list. This question ends up being thrown to, this job ends up being thrown to Julia Madison, another one of my Godspell alums. And her character goes through an existential crisis of, well, I think everybody's on the naughty list. We've all been naughty. Nobody's getting toys this Christmas. Comedy ensues. Anne Harada comes and saves the day. And at the end of the show, the messaging of the show is that we all have nice moments. We all have naughty moments. And we should give each other the grace to forgive each other and to allow each other the opportunity to grow and change and learn. You can learn more about our show at nicelistmusical.com. I know that they just posted the website on there. What ended up happening was we did it for free. We had it something that we released it on December 1st. It was free for the entire month of December. And that was really something that my investors and my fellow producers wanted to do because we knew that 2020 was a hard year for everyone and that Christmas was going to be challenging with so many people losing their jobs. Everybody's going through financial strain at the moment. So all of us on the producing team insisted that this be a free event. But really, honestly, when Gary picked up the phone and called me, he asked me, do you have I don't know, who should direct us? I said, well, let me pick up the phone and call my dear friend, Alan Maroka, who I've been on stage with in Pacific Overtures on Broadway, but then he is also a series regular on Sesame Street. Not only that, but he's been a series regular for so long that he then ended up directing episodes. So let me pick up the phone and call my editors at Sesame Street. Let me call the sound engineer, Michael Kreuter, who's won an Emmy for producing sound on Sesame Street. Let me call them and see if they're interested. Great. Now, at this point, I'm still just an actor on the project. But then I went, well, let me pick up the phone and call a couple of more people to just tell them what we're doing. I ended up calling up two amazing investors and producers that were on Allegiance with me, Elliot Mazie and Wendy Gillespie. This has not been a financially hard year for them, but they said, we have been trying to find a way to give back. What if we funded this project And what if we sponsored this project with no desire for anything in return, but we are so inspired by what it is that you are doing. We would love to be able to pay everybody their union rates, pay a props person, pay a costume designer, pay actors SAG-AFTRA rates in order to do it, pay musicians, have it, pay our editors, basically create employment opportunities where there weren't any. So then all of a sudden, me, who I was originally just an actor because Gary Adler picked up the phone and asked me to do this thing. Now I ended up as an executive producer on the project. And what I'd love to screen share with all of you, and I'm going to do it right now, so maybe Christy can help me here. As the executive producer, I quickly put together this list. And as you can see from this list, you know, a lot of this is really picking up the phone. And it all started with a series of phone calls. Did I think I was going to be executive producing a musical in September, October of 2020? Absolutely not. That was not on my list. And frankly, if those amazing investors didn't come on, would we have made it for $3 and a shoestring and just done it on our green screens at home? Absolutely. But I think part of the tip that I would love to give you all is not so much of a tip. It's already something that you all already know, which is that theater is an art form that is dependent on people working with each other and collaboration. I think that's very hard to remember during COVID because we are isolated from one another, but these people are accessible to you. They are here with you. Basically, what I'm showing you on the screen right now is that's the credit roll. That's the text that we used in the final credits. What I would love to share with you now is actually the homework assignment and the next part of it, which I would love for you guys to take on as your challenge. And this challenge, I decided that I would make it, instead of us calling it the nice list, we're calling it your list. So basically what I've done is I've taken out all of the names from my credit roll and I've left them blank for you. And see if you can do this. Give yourself a timer, like Ken likes to do with his to-do list. Give yourself a timer of 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and see how many of those people you can actually fill in on your project right away. You know, executive producer is you're producing it. So see how many people do you know people who write music? If you don't, do you know someone who does know those people? And oftentimes that's what I found myself doing when I was creating the project. And I've also found that to be helpful. I've always said to myself, I don't know someone who is a, you know, logo and key art designer, which is on the bottom of that list. But do I know someone who does know that someone? And really, the tip really is about asking for help, because we cannot make theater by ourselves. It's impossible. And I think part of the trap we get into as producers sometimes is that we feel like because we are leading the project that we have to have all of the answers. Something I've certainly learned from my Godspell process is that oftentimes I would walk into a rehearsal, and most of that show was created with improv, but oftentimes I would walk into that rehearsal and I would have no idea how we were going to approach this particular number, this particular parable, but I counted on my fellow collaborators to have that, to help to come up with something together. That, you know, one brain is great, but 11 brains together is even better, and the best idea wins. And so I feel like my tip for you all is to remember you are not alone, as Ken said at the top of this hour, and also that your network is bigger than you think. Even if you don't know that specific person for that job, that you do probably know someone who does know those people, and that you can absolutely reach out to them. The other thing is, think about this. You know, during this time when we've been locked in our homes, I've often thought about, you know, reaching out to friends and going, hey, how are you doing? Or, hey, would you like to take a walk? Most often times, the answer is yes, because I feel like everybody is waiting by their phone for their phone to ring for somebody to ask them out on a date or ask them out to take a walk, a quarantine walk in the park. So why not you be that person? If we're all waiting by the phone for the phone to ring, then maybe you should be the person on the other end of it, picking up that phone to call those people. It's scary. I know sometimes to just pick up the phone and call folks, but again, I think if we remember that we're not doing this alone, it helps give you that little bit of courage to pick up the phone and reach out to somebody, even if you don't know them super well, or reach out to somebody even if you're 1 or 2 degrees away from them. And guess what? At the end, by December 1st, we had this amazing musical. You can see some of the B-roll online at nicelistmusical.com. And just so you know, Mary and Ken's team over there is going to have all of those documents that I shared loaded up for you so that you can compare lists. And that you can sort of see, oh, right. And listen, that list, I will say at the beginning of October was empty for me. I had none of those roles filled. And I sort of had to fill all of those roles very, very quickly because, again, if we're going to start making something in October and then have it released by December, to shoot it all from our homes, to send all of our fellow actors sound equipment, blue screens, lighting equipment, softbox lights, to teach them how to film from their living rooms, to have all of that footage come in, to sort through all that footage, to then put it all together to be released, watching many cuts as an executive producer, and then releasing it on December 1st was quite a feat. But somehow we did it. And it wasn't I did it, it was we did it. We collectively did it. Not only did we really put out something that I'm super proud of, that spread a lot of joy into the world, but it was also it also gave me something creative to do during a time where I felt sort of a sort of creatively depleted. And so I am thankful that Gary Adler picked up the phone and called me. And I know that for all those people that I called as the EP on that show, I know that those people that I picked up the phone, they were thankful to get my phone call at the end of the day, and they were thankful that I was on the other end of the line. So just I encourage all of you to do the same, and that's my spiel, Ken.
I love it. I love it. Be the person who picks up the phone. Make the call. Like it's so simple. And so tell me though, you said yes, it can be a little scary. What did you do to get over those moments where there was no one on the page? You're like, who am I going to call? Oh, what if they say no?
Yeah. I think our biggest fear is that someone will reject us, right? That is a deep-seated fear that we all have as human beings. As an actor, I have been very well trained in rejection. So, you know what I mean? I always say to my young actors when they take master classes with me, or, they come into class with me and they feel intimidated that here I am, somebody who has 7 Broadway shows, teaching them a master class. I go, listen, that's what you read on my playbill is that I've done 7 Broadway shows. Nobody writes on their playbill the amount of Broadway shows they didn't get. Because for every credit that you have of the 7 Broadway shows you've done represents about 100 shows, 100 rooms I've walked into where somebody has said no to me. And if really that's the worst thing that can happen, somebody saying no to you, like, of course, that is hard. And as an actor, I've sort of learned how to develop the tough skin and the confidence in my own work and artistry to go, that's not personal. Somebody saying no to me. I have no idea what they've gone through. I have no idea what the requirements of the project are. But if they've said no to me, I simply have to move on to the next person. And that would be my advice to all of you who have a little bit of trepidation about picking up the phone. The worst thing that can happen is that person says no. Right. But I was shocked. I had a wonderful team of people. I had Emmy Award-winning people on this project. And surprisingly, they said yes. They said yes because they loved what we were doing. They also said yes because they wanted, I have a Tony Award winner playing Santa Claus, who is so busy. He's the busiest man in show business. James Monroe Iglehart, and incredibly sweet, but he believed in it. And shockingly, he said yes. So I think, at the end of the day, when I picked up the phone, I went, oh, I don't know. James is so busy. Is he going to say yes? We were all pleasantly surprised. But the worst thing is he goes, guys, I'm sorry. I'm too busy. And oftentimes I will find that when people are too busy, but they love something, they'll go, but have you tried calling blank? And then all of a sudden your Rolodex gets bigger. And because now you're coming in with, like, for example, if James, one actor, it'll remain nameless, because I don't want to say who it is. We had called another person for a role. Another person was a first choice for a role. This person said, gosh, I am so busy working on my TV show, I can't do it. But have you tried calling this person? That person ended up being better. The second person, the referral person, ended up being better for the role than the first person. And actually, the person that said no to us knew that as well. So in some ways, it ended up working out for the best.
There's so much gold in there. Thank you so much for sharing all that. Telly's going to go back and jump into the VIP room. If you want to join him, and he'll give you some more tips there. And remember, when you get a ticket, you're sending a kid to see a Broadway show. You're giving back through Broadway Bridges or the Situation Project. So if you want to get more tips from Telly, go jump in that room. There is so much in that. So much in that. Even someone like Telly gets a little fearful. I love this idea that no one lists the shows that they didn't get. Same is true for writers. Like all the successful writers that you've seen their shows on Broadway, no one lists all the shows that they've submitted or written or that have not gotten to Broadway or screenplays that have not been made. We only see the after, right? There is a before to everybody. And how those people got to the after is by asking. By picking up the phone, asking for help, asking. I've, my career as a producer, I have to raise a lot of money, which means I have to ask about 10 times as many people, And it's all back to that Mandy Gonzalez, what if? What if they said no? Okay, you ask somebody else. What if they said yes? Telly found out what happens when they say yes. Go watch The Nice List, by the way. We threw the link in there. It is fantastic. It's super fun. I would expect no less, though, from that unbelievably talented young man. I am thankful that he was here. Show him some more love in the chat. And now we will bring on yet another Broadway leading man. I want you to welcome the next tipper. We're going to call them tippers from now on. It's just become the thing. The next tipper. Starred on Broadway is Harry Potter. I mean, those are some big shoes to fill. He was a star of If Then and Crybaby, a ton more. Please welcome to the challenge, Mr. James Snyder.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, Ken.
My pleasure. They are all yours, my friend.
Oh boy, I am so sorry, folks. I've been furiously taking notes. And I certainly just always love to hear Telly talk. Thank you guys again for being here, showing up not only for me, but for you guys. So number one tip. Now, this is a secret that I've had. There's been a test of 1.5 billion people. Scientists had a test group of 1.5 billion people of this one thing that you can change that's going to make the biggest difference in your life. And I don't even know how these scientists really got this, but actually I do. It's called daylight savings time. And you're like, wait, what are you talking about? Well, when we spring forward or we fall back, we either gain an hour of sleep or we lose an hour of sleep. And so my number one tip for you guys is that sleep is the key, is the foundation. It's not even like one of the pillars of like, oh, I got to eat right, I got to exercise, I got to sleep. No. You have to sleep. And this is one of those things for me that made a huge difference. Now, I have two kids. When I was doing If Then, I had a 1.5-year-old who didn't want to sleep through the night. So I get home from work, it'd be 11:30, and then he'd be up by 1:30, like at 1:30 or 4 o'clock. And because my wife had been on a 2-show day, my wife had been with him the whole time. It was sort of my job to kind of handle the night. So I was running on 4 hours sleep, which we can do. And I believe it. But there are actually only about 2.5% of the population can actually run on that much sleep. So let's say your great-great-grandparents, they were getting 10 hours of sleep. And then Thomas Edison in the 1870s got a little patent for a light bulb. And now Americans get 6.7 hours of sleep on average. We need between 7 and 9 hours of actual sleep. That means like 9 hours in bed because you got like little waking up periods in between. So again, I just want to say, so to go back to daylight savings time, 1.5 billion people, when we lose that hour of sleep, actually traffic accidents go up, heart attacks go up, you can name it across the board. Hospitals get way more busy. And also conversely, the same thing happens when we gain that hour of sleep at daylight savings time too. So that's my tip, believe it or not, is sleep. Tom Brady sleeps like 11 hours a night. LeBron James sleeps 11 hours a night. Tom Brady goes to bed at 8:30. And as we all know, he's like 400 years old and still playing football, American football, that is. So You're like, great, fine, I get that, but I'm busy or I got this. The way that has been working for me is what I call creating like a digital sunset. So what happens is when we stare at a blue screen, like an iPhone, um, all the way up until the point that we sleep, that blue light is freaking our brain out and messing with our melatonin levels. Now, this is a lot of science, yada, yada, but you know that it's probably not good for you. So I try and aim. Now, like I said, I don't always pull this off, but I try and aim for 2 hours before I go to bed, and be like, you know what? Phone's off. It gives me that quality time with my kids anyway when I'm putting them down. And the trick is to not put that those inputs back in. Remember, the only source of light for, I mean, millions of years of this existence of like biological creatures on the planet, the only source for trillions, I don't know, was the sun. That was the only source of blue light. And now, literally, as I look around, there's every single thing here is creating blue light because there are no incandescent bulbs in this room. So this is a lot of science, but again, I'm just saying sleep, sleep, sleep. And so the way that I do that is by trying to shut down all of those video inputs so that I can actually really get that deep sleep and dive in. It helps your brain get cleaned up. Go look up all this information. So you're like, great, sleep, that's fine. So the next part that I like to talk about are my bookends of your day. So those are the things that you can control in the morning and in the evening. You notice how you have like that little bit more freedom, even if you have kids. I get the kids down, I have that time after. And every single great day that I've ever had has started the night before with the way that I've slept, my Sunday, doing those to-do lists, just like Ken is saying too. So I hope you guys are taking notes. So basically I say, okay, what's my tomorrow going to look like? And then in the morning, I make sure before I roll over and pick this brick up, I remember that before the inputs of riots at the Capitol or whatever hit me, I'm doing the things that are super important to my creative brain. To that part of my brain that's not operating from, I got to do this and I got to do this. The creative part of me that says, I try and tap into that quiet part of my brain, the super mind. I forget, somebody talked about, but so again, those to-do lists that Ken was talking about, to piggyback on that, it's figuring out what your morning looks like before those random inputs come in and create all of that stuff. And I don't know if you feel this is a tool, and yet somehow I feel a slave to my phone. Like I'm telling you, I'm spending time with my kids. I'm a full-time dad now. I teach them. They're right now on their computers doing their schoolwork, but I have amnesia when I pick up my phone, where it's like, wait, what was I doing? It's random inputs that are constantly getting in the way of that deep work, that connected work. And so I guess really at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, what are you connecting to and what's important to you? And make sure that you see those things. And you can show up as your best you when you have that foundation of sleep and then the clear goals ahead. And then just know that every single time you sort of pick up that phone without a purpose, you're chipping away at what's important to you, because I don't necessarily think Instagram is that important. Now, I need to do that for my job, and that's also an important thing, but I strolling through and I end up down this thing. But if I look at it from okay, I'm going to post twice today. I'm going to do 2 reels. It's going to be great. If you want to check out my Instagram at the James Snyder, I've been doing just goofy stuff just to keep myself creative and having fun. But the second I let that get out of control and turn into just like mouth breathing, like zombie phone use, I'm losing my goal. So, yeah, so that's basically my tip: is sleep is the key to finding the best you. And that means, I mean this, and I'm sorry if you're like, oh, but I love to watch TV at night and wind down. Your brain doesn't. And there's science based on this and all of that. So I'm just encouraging you to find your way to put that screen down at night. And I mean, there were studies. It was something like they took a few groups of people, and the melatonin levels were reduced by 50% by people who watched 2 hours of TV up until the point, or 2 hours of screens up until the point they went to bed. And conversely, 50%, it produced more melatonin, 50% there. And we all know that has to do, that balances out with like melatonin versus serotonin. which melatonin's night, sleepy time, serotonin's like, hey, we're like, we're helping you during the day and helping you clean up and make you keep your body, keep your energy going. So doing that. So again, sleep is the key. Listen to me when I say this. And then this is a tool. Now your homework. So this is something I came up with because being an actor, I've been unemployed more often than not. It was a year and a half between in transit and booking Harry Potter. And like Telly Leung, I can go through the list of Broadway shows I did not book that I got very close to. So that downtime, I realized like my confidence was waning as each one of those hits was sort of hitting. So I had to sit down and say, what are the things that are going to help me feel like I won? What are my bare minimum things? Because I had set like, I'm going to work out an hour and I'm going to like meditate for an hour. I'm going to like journal. I'm going to write. I'm going to do all this stuff. And really at the end of the day, it was too much. It was too much. And so I said, okay, what is the bare minimum I can do that is going to, at the end of the day, leave me feeling like I won? And I'm telling you, when I started these bare minimums, it was 1 minute of meditating. 1 minute. Okay. Boom. I got that. Okay. 1 minute of journaling. Okay. I did that. 1 minute of yoga. Okay. But actually, I didn't even have 1 minute. I had just in the morning stand on my mat. This is sort of goes back to the principle of start your day with the win. Just like Ken was talking about, was start your day, just make your bed and be like, great, what's this little thing that I can do? But what I did was I took those little ideas and said, well, how many little things do I need to do so that I go, dang it, at the end of the day, so that I don't feel like a piece of garbage at the end. I didn't do this and I didn't do this. And that's that self-talk that comes in. And instead I can say, I hit my bare minimums. That's it. And then if that's not enough, then I moved it up. And all of a sudden I found that when I was doing those bare minimums every single day, because believe it or not, it was easier for me, and test this for yourself, but it was easier for me to do something every day than like, I'm going to meditate 3 times a week. No, every day. That's how you build a habit. You do something every day. And if you miss a day, well, actually, you don't miss a day. If you miss a day, you schedule it into your calendar and you don't miss that day. That's how you build a habit. And so what habit did I want? I wanted to meditate. I wanted to journal. I wanted to do yoga. I wanted to sing. And so I built in those 1 minute things. And then eventually now I'm at 20 minutes of meditating in the morning. And then I have a very specific way I journal. And I hit those bare minimums. So that at the end of the day, when my head hits that pillow, I can say, yeah, I did that, and set them somewhere for you, something that's idiosyncratic to you. Nietzsche said through Zarathustra, pulling that one out. But when the student said, well, master, what is the way? And Zarathustra says, well, there is no the way. There is your way. There is my way. There is no the way. So find your way and listen to it. But your homework is to give me 3 bare minimums. Okay, just those things that you can do that at the end of the day, you can say, okay, I hit my bare minimums. And so that's it. So that's it. That's my time. I really appreciate you guys having me. I'm going to leave you with a quote from my brilliant wife, who has her own amazing podcast. She helps people with product-based businesses. If you make something, they sell it. But she says to every single one of her clients and one of her students, and keep this in mind when you're working on your bare minimums, done is better than perfect. In fact, I'll go a step farther than that. Perfect is the lowest possible goal you could make, because perfect is impossible to achieve. So done is better than perfect. So just get it done. Even if that minute of meditating is the ugliest minute of meditating you ever had, it's still a minute that you showed up for yourself. And so again, I just want to say thank you for showing up and listening to my crazy ramblings about sleep and all of the data that I was throwing at you. You can look up a lot more of it, I'm sure, on the internet. But again, thank you for showing up for me, but most of all, thank you for showing up for you, because as you make yourself better, you make the world better, as do I. So thank you also to Ken. And there you go.
James Snyder, everybody. Show James some love. I love this bare minimums, because I am a guy that I pack my days filled with a lot of stuff. And sometimes at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, well, how did I do today? I try to grade myself. And if I knew there were 3 things that I must do, like that check those bare minimums off, I'd feel good. So you can't help but go to sleep feeling good.
Yeah, I came to the realization when after I had a child, I hadn't worked for a while, and my kid, and what was interesting is my entire existence sort of shifted. In that, like, I wasn't ending the day feeling as crappy about myself, and I realized it was because I had been a dad, and I had done a good job as a dad. And it shifted the game for me. So I was winning at dad, which I was like, oh, well, what little things can I do? So I wasn't ending the day. I sort of moved the goal. Actually, I moved the entire field to a whole other field. And so then I realized I could set my own goals of who I wanted to be. And as soon as I did that, it changed how I operated in the world, and then who I was just to myself, really, even.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. James is going to head back into the VIP and the backstage area right now, get into more of his bare minimums, and tell you more about what he does to be the amazing performer that he is, as well as the amazing dad. I mean, that's what we all have to do. Remember, this is balance, right? This is balance. I read an interesting study once that said you can only be good at 5 things. 5 things. Some people say 3. But I like the 5. You can only be really good at 5 things. You got to pick your 5 things. If you've got 10 things you want to be really good at, I want to be a writer, I want to be an actor, I want to be a puppeteer, I want to be a chess player, I want to play poker, I want to ski, I want to It's too many. If you want to be really good, you can only do 5. And you know what? Being a dad is a very important one of those 5 for me. You can tell dad, husband, like that's an important part of it. You got to work that into whatever it is you want to do. And James is such an inspiration because obviously he's such a perfect example of doing that and balancing his life. He literally is turning off his Zoom because he's going to take care of the schooling of his children right now. It's incredible, incredible. So what do you think? You enjoy these tips today? Can you see already how if you applied these tips, even just one of them, to your theater making, to your life, how you'd be able to get closer to your goals? Can you see that? Never mind the 6, 7 tips. Really, it's like 100 because there's like so many packed into every speaker's. But you can see, right? That you can see that if you started to do these things, that you would start to accelerate your growth, or as I said at the top of this live stream, that you would increase your odds of success. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to increase your odds. These are long odds in this business, long odds. But if we can, 1, increase them, get you more likely to succeed, and 2, have a great time while doing it. Enjoy the process, enjoy it, then we'll win. We'll all win, no matter what, no matter what. Okay, so let's talk about homework. Let's talk about homework. 3 speakers today, 3 pieces of homework. And the prize, let's just talk about the prize first. The prize, as Mary Dina, my producer, just slacked me. We're into Slack now. As she just slacked me, she said she actually smacks me all the time through the Slack when I screw things up. But the prize tomorrow is headshots by a fantastic photographer named Jeremy Daniel. He took mine. So if you've seen my new white hair headshots on my website or wherever, they were taken by Jeremy Daniel. Jeremy also does my shows. He does a lot of Broadway shows. He'll also do headshots. He's doing them right now very, very safely. And by the way, you need these, whether or not you're an actor. If you're like, I'm not an actor, I'm a writer, you need them. If you're a producer, you need them. If you're a designer, you need them. You need them, you need them. So no matter what you do, writer, actor, designer, whatever you are, you need a headshot. The winner of today's homework contest will win. The winner will win. Of course he will. The winner will get headshots by Jeremy Daniel. The homework, number 1, mine. Pick one thing you want to do and puke up 10 to-dos. 10 to-dos. Don't judge them. You may cross them off later, revise them later, not do them later. I don't care about that. Fill up your to-do tank. with 10 things in 10 minutes. 10 things in 10 minutes. It really should be 10 things in like 2 minutes. I did it. You can too. That's mine. Number 2, Telly, fill out your form. That form, the Your List, is in our Facebook group. You can get it there. You can get it there. Fill it out. Really, the question is, who can you call to help you get towards your goal, whatever that is? Who can you call? So if you don't have a project right now, if you can't fill out that entire list, just write down one person that you can call that can help you get you closer to your goals. You don't even have to call them. Identify the person. Identify the person that you can call. That's Telly's. And number 3, you heard it from James. What are your 3 bare minimums? What are your 3 bare minimums that you need to do every day so that when you go to sleep at a reasonable hour to get that required hours of sleep to live a very healthy life, you can feel like you won the day. More often you win the day, the more often you will win the next day, right? What are your bare minimums? So remember, here's how you win the prize, those headshots. Here's how you win. Go into the Facebook group. You will see the assignment for day 2 with these 3 homework assignments delineated. Then in the comments of that post, put done, did it, done, 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 done. Okay? If you'd like, and we'd love it, go into more detail about what you did. Talk about some of your to-dos, share it. The more publicly you claim your to-dos, by the way, the more likely you're going to accomplish them. Talk about your to-dos, talk about your bare minimums, ask people what other people are doing. Put it in there. And so proof as that you've completed your homework. And then lastly, don't forget, you have to comment on someone else's homework telling them they did a great job. Okay? Do the homework, post that you did the homework, and 3, comment on someone else's homework. Pat them on the back. You've got each other. You're all trying to do the same thing. You will literally, all of you will be more likely to achieve this if we all try to help each other get there. Okay? We're going to help each other. We're going to pat each other on the back. Okay? And tomorrow I will announce the winner of the headshots. Remember, tomorrow, 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. Big change, timing, 2 o'clock post-inauguration. I have a feeling everyone on this challenge is going to be in a fantastic mood and ready to tackle the new year that's ahead. Don't forget about the Theater Maker Studio. This is the month now until January 24th where you can claim a free trial to the Theater Maker Studio. If you are enjoying this challenge, which I think you are, you enjoying this challenge? If you are enjoying this challenge, then you're going to love the Theater Maker Studio. And now's the time to find out because like this challenge is totally free for 30 days, but you have to sign up by the 24th. And then the free trial option is disappearing. So now's the time to do it. If you haven't heard of it before, or if you have heard of it before and have been like, I wonder if I should, now's the time. Make it one of your to-dos. Make it one of your 10 things. Join the studio. See if there's anything inside it that will help me. If there isn't, cancel. That's simple. No hard feelings. We just want people to try it because we know it works. Okay? That's it for day 2. We're almost at the halfway point of this Theater Maker Challenge. Thank you all so much for being here for day 2. Thank you for your commitment to making theater and making better theater. I'm going to go jump into the Zoom room backstage right now and continue the conversation with my speakers and all the guests in there. If you want to join me and help send a kid to a Broadway show, click that link, come in. We'll continue to talk about theater making. And tomorrow we will see you for day 3 of the Theater Makers Challenge at 2 o'clock. See you then, everyone.
Now it's time to take charge of your 2021.